Anybody in there? Hello? Hey guys and gals, welcome back to the channel. My name's Smitty. The 4L80E build, tidying up some things. We're working on the valve body. As you can see, the valves are all laid back there. I got a new separator plate, and I had it overnighted, and holy crap, maybe I shouldn't overnighted it. Just nailed me on shipping. But 4272, and that just so happens to be our stamp number on our plate right there. I know it's upside down, but you can read upside down. 4272. So we know that's the right plate. So let me get this thing out and I'll show you the comparison on these holes here. Take a time out real quick. Of course, you know I got to do the spiel. If you like what you've seen, make sure and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get all the latest updates when I upload videos. Smash that like button. Share it with your friends. Leave me comments, and I greatly appreciate it. This has really been cool. I've gotten some good comments and some good feedback, and apparently y'all like what I'm doing. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, let me get this out of the wrapper here, and we'll show you a comparison. The way they wrap these things was always kind of tough, and basically just glue two pieces of plastic together. So let's just cut it. So if you look at the originals right there, and then look at these, look at how much difference there is. These two holes right here. I mean, you can literally see how much bigger this hole is. That changes the characteristics of the shifts and everything else, and it makes it tough to seal. So that's why we're replacing it. Because the check ball, that's caused by the steel check ball just beating the you-know-what out of that hole, and so it makes it big. On these newer transmissions like the 6L80s and up that I build for work, they use plastic check balls. Excuse me. In fact, a lot of your rebuild kits now come with plastic check balls. That's actually two reasons. One of them is because they found that the check balls can become magnetized, and so they'll just end up sticking to the separator plate, and it causes shift problems and everything else. So they use the plastic ones, or nylon, or Duraprene, or whatever you want to call it, plastic, and so that way they don't magnetize themselves to the separator plate. So anyway, so we're going to get to modifying this separator plate, and for the new shift improver kit. So let me get all that stuff set up and we'll get back at it. Okay, now this is I like using these Superior shift improvement kits. They work really well. And there's a web address, and I'll put the link down below. I know you can't really read that, the fans are blowing on it. At any rate, what I like to do, since you're going to be, I know he's going to want this one probably heavy duty, because he tows a lot with this truck. So A, B, C, and D are all heavy duty. So what I like to do is I like to mark them on the plate for how it's going to get drilled. So turn your plate like it's illustrated in just like that. And then I'll mark the ones that need to be done. So alright, the fan's gonna have to go off for a second. Alright, you guys might be able to hear something too. So on our sheet, C, B, A, and D. So we need to look at all those. And what I do is I look like you got a big block there and you got two small holes above another hole. And that's going to be one of your holes you drill. So you look on this. Here's your big hole. You got one there and then your two smaller holes. So this one right here is going to be a C, and do the same thing with your other ones. Like here's a B, and so you got a small, a large, and then two holes and a round hole above it. So there's the small, the large, and there's, so this one here is going to be a B. And no, the Sharpie will not hurt the transmission whatsoever. In fact, you probably take it off sometime and it'll still be there. Okay, so your next one is an A, and you've got like a backwards J, and there's a hole right above it. So there's your backwards J right there, and there's a hole right above it. So that one's going to be an A. And you got one more, which is D, which is all the way over on the side. You can't miss that one. Just look at your picture. And so this one over here is going to be a D. Okay, your drill bit sizes. D is 0.041, A is 0.096, B is 0.096, and then C is going to be the 0.076. All right, so you got your plate marked the way you need to drill it, and they give you drill bits with it. Alright, since these are not labeled, the best way to do this is with a mic. You can actually tell what size it is. This one's probably going to be our big one. And that one doesn't even look like one we're going to use, so we'll set that aside. The 4L80E valve train is very simple. There's not much to it at all. So that's why you don't have to do a whole lot to it. Okay. Let's see what this one is here. 75 and 19 is what? It's actually a 0.94, which that's close enough. That'll be our big one. And that measures 76. So that one's okay, and then we got this other one here. This one should be our small one, our 41 thousandths, and it is. Okay, so let's do our A and B, which is our big ones. And the reason why I mark them is because that way we know that we're doing the right ones. There's one, and there's two in that one. Okay, let's do our 76 thousandths, which that's hole C. Again, I don't have to guess at them because I've already marked them, so. Okay, and then we got our last one. Which hopefully this chuck will take this a little bitty bit, and it won't. I wonder if I got that other drill here. It's got a little smaller chuck on it, so, all right. All I gotta do is open this last one up a little bit. Okay. We'll put those back in the bag. Okay, now what you need to do, you need to go on the back side, and all those holes that you drilled, you need to flatten them out with a file. Just knock the burrs off of them. Just feel them with your finger, and as long as you can't feel any burrs, you're good to go. So that's all there is to modifying that separator plate. And we'll wipe it down with some brake wash before we put it in. Okay, that's all you got to do with that. Now they want you to do a modification to the valve body. I don't remember seeing an anti-shutter valve. You're gonna make sure to replace your screens when you put this valve body back together. And one of them excuse me, goes right here in this hole. And it does have an O-ring on it, so and it goes O-ring down and it'll sit in there. Then you got this other screen, this other here, and this actually goes in this port right here. I don't know what these little stinking black bugs are. Holy cow, they're annoying. Alright. For the rest of these valves, I use a little trans gel. Not trans gel. Wow. We're going to use a little transmission fluid. Alright, back at it here. So we got this big honking check ball. Goes right down in this hole here. Then you got just your aluminum plug that goes in there. Dip it in a little transmission fluid. Slide that dude in there. And this one's got a great big roll pin. So you got to get it below the hole. Slide your roll pin in. Give her a little tap so it's flush. That's that one. Next one, you got spring that goes in this hole. That goes in first, then you got this valve. Slide that dude in there. And you'll have to push this one down so you can get your roll pin in the top here. There we go. Just tap your push it down with your screwdriver if you have to. Next one, same thing. Spring goes in first. And valve. You got another roll pin. Damn black bugs. There we go. Push that one down. Okay, and we got this big honking one over here. Spring, valve. But I have to give that one a little help to get it started to go down in that hole. Now this one here, should be able to get a O-ring, should have an O-ring in the kit for this. Somewhere in here I think there's a O-ring for this. That will probably work. And this one here has got a check ball in it, in the middle of it. So what you need to do to hold it in place is glob you a little trans gel in that hole. Drop your check ball in there. Then slide the O-ring one in there first, then your other one on top of it. And when you know you got it, when you feel that O-ring catch on the, and slide your roll pin in, and that side's done. So now we switch to the other side. And we got steel valve. Goes right in there. Sometimes they don't want to go in there. Okay. Well, I know why it's not going in there. Because that's the one valve that we couldn't get out here at the house. Goes in that hole. The spring, your little cup plug, get a big enough screwdriver, you can push that spring down, because what you got to do is you got to slide your bar end around it. Just like that. Last, not well, it's not last but least, you got one more valve. Goes in that hole. Spring on top. Cup plug. And your roll pin. Then, for those of you who thought that I forgot that other one, it's right here. I put it in this box. Like I said, I didn't have the right tool here to get it out, and I had it at work. That valve, spring. Oh, roll pin's in my hand. So this one should be spring down first. Valve. And then get it down far enough you can get your roll pin in there. And we're going to leave that up because I want to check to make sure that that was the correct way, which I think it is. Alright, I know that's right because I remember taking it out and remember having trouble with it. So we're going to push that all down in there. And there's an update for, I found in the literature that came with the Overhaul kit, and has to do with a no fourth gear deal, and it has to do with an updated spring that goes in here. It's a heavier spring, so we're going to take that out real quick and replace this spring. And of course it's the one that's a blind hole. There we go. Slide that dude out. We're going to replace this spring with this spring. You could use both of them in there, but we're not going to do that. They just want you to replace it. Oh yeah, it's definitely a more stout spring for sure. Alright, there's that one. So now we can put our shift solenoids back on. We'll go ahead and replace these O-rings. Two different sizes. That's that one. That's that one. Okay, there's that solenoid. That was a TCC I replaced instead. That's alright. It all works the same. That one. Right. Okay, there's our two shift solenoids. Let's flip it over. Our PC solenoid. This one's held in by a retainer. Your TCC just goes in there, and it uses this little horseshoe clip on the back side. So that's easy peasy. That one's done. And for the life of me, I don't know where that stinking bracket just went. There is a horseshoe bracket that goes over this PC solenoid, and that's what holds it in. Oh, it'll turn up in a few minutes. Alright, we're done with that for now. We're just going to spray off our our neutral switch, or our pressure switch, is it goes right here. About like that. Okay. Here's the little bracket I was talking about. Looks like that. And that just slides under there. Like that. Sure they're bolted in there. Okay, that part of the valve body is done. So we'll set it off to the side. Alright, well, the lapel mic's only as good as the mic if you turn it on. So what we're doing here, this is the only seal that never did come in the kit. So looking at the condition of it and everything else, the seal's pretty good shape. And what we're working with is the accumulator housing. So we're just going to clean this O-ring up, and we'll reuse it. It goes on the end of that piston that's right there in front of me. That is sitting upright. Why the kit didn't have that one in it, I'm not sure. So anyway, just use your pick to get your other seals. These are a flat, like a flat square cut seal. They're actually rounded on the edge that goes inside the bore, but them have been in there a while. They're a little stiff, but we got the new one there. You're going to want to lube this dude up, so give it a little love. You don't want to put the seal in dry, because a lot of times what happens, it'll catch when if it's not lubed up. So, and just slide that one back in the groove. And then just take and do the same thing. Even though that seal's an old one, go ahead and give it some love. It was in really good shape, that's why I reused it. If it was in poor shape, I would have gotten another one. Like I said, I don't know why it didn't come in the kit. So anyway, that piston's done. Do the same thing with your other piston here. Go ahead and pop your seal out of there. Try not to stab yourself with a pick either. Word of mouth, it hurts. I was just working on a 6L80 recently, and it slid. I had a pick that I was pulling out, and it slid off and went right in my thumb, through the glove and everything. Hurt like the dickens. Anyway, same thing. Make sure to give yourself some love on, or not give yourself, but give the seal some love before you stick it in there. And then on your accumulator housing, you want to do the same thing. Make sure to lube up your bores real good. And on that one, make sure to lube your pin so it slides real easy. And the bore that's there on the right, this one here that I'm doing, actually goes for that deep piston, because there's a double bore in there. You can see it as I'm showing it to you there. And so it goes down. That way your spring pocket is facing up. And just give it a little shove and it'll go right on down in there. And do the same thing with your other piston. Then you got your two springs. Try not to get these springs mixed up. They are different tension. And that's all we're going to do on that. So accumulator housing is very easy to do. Alright, so now we're going to start working on the valve body. And we got our separator plate that we've modified. See which way it goes on. And then we'll need to make sure to stick the gasket on. Have a separate gasket for the accumulator housing, then you got one for the valve body and then one for the case side. So it's pretty easy to tell which one goes where. You see that one's got the two accumulator holes in it, and it's also marked. See, it said VB, valve body. The other one will be marked CA, should be, and it is there. It is right there. So since you know that goes on there, go ahead and lay your valve body gasket on there. Try to get the holes as lined up as you can so you're not covering up a hole. It'll make it a heck of a lot easier. They're never perfect, so don't think that they're gonna be perfect. Just has to be close. Once you got that on, put your plate on. Again, try to line it up with the holes like it's supposed to be. They won't completely line up perfect. These things are stamped out in whole different animal. And as I put this on there, I realized, hey, you know what, there's a gasket that's supposed to go there. So take and put your gasket on. I like to use a little lube to hold the gasket in place, because once you stick it on that plate, it won't scoot around as much. And just flip your accumulators over. And find your bolts. Always start your bolts by your fingers. Don't ever just put them in with a screw gun or whatever you're using to put together. Real easy to pull threads on a valve body and in a case. I can't stress enough, y'all, make sure to use a torque wrench. And I'm missing a bolt. Normally I wouldn't recommend you using an impact driver, but I've done this so long and I know this impact driver, it won't hurt it, and I don't run it down and just do ugga-duggas on it. I just run it down till it's snug, kind of alternate as I'm running the bolts in, and just run them down till it's snug, then use the torque wrench on it to torque them the rest of the way. Because these are only supposed to be like 106 inch-pounds, something close to that. 106 inch-pounds on a transmission torque, especially on valve body stuff, is a good rule of thumb. It won't be usually too tight or too loose. Now, I say that on these old ones you can get away with that, but these new ones like the 6L80, the 8L90, and the 6075, their torque on a lot of their stuff is like either 71 inch-pounds or 89 inch-pounds. Pretty light torque, and they don't take much. and most of them don't have gaskets in between the valve body and the transmission. They're just a machine fit. So, and this little torque wrench I'm using I really like. It's made by Snap-on and it's pretty dang accurate. Alright, now that you got that on, you can put your other gasket on. That blank round hole is for the 2-1 apply servo. Like I said, just dab some grease in some different spots there. That'll hold your gasket in place. And just set your gasket on there, and that way, since I've got the fan on, it won't blow the gasket halfway across my shop. Alright, we're going to go over check ball location, and you can see any of the pockets there. That's where check ball goes. It's pretty easy to see these. I mean, you don't have to look for them, but you got to make sure to get your check balls in every one of those. So just plop your check ball in there, and since you've got the case up like this, you don't have to use any assembly lube. You can just put them in dry. If you were doing this in the vehicle, you'd want to use assembly lube to hold them back up in there. A quick note, if you get one of these that loses reverse, you can check your pin and everything underneath your reverse apply servo that's right underneath my hand there on the right. That big tin cover right there is your reverse apply servo. You can check your pin length, but if you use the tool, you actually have to pull the valve body off. So that's going to be it for the assembly of this. We'll continue the rest of it in another video.